think this is... Howdy readers, I'm Jason. This is Chapter and Verse, and today I'm going to be doing a response video. So a couple of days ago, I was watching Steve Donoghue's channel, and he did a video on what he called books for all seasons, and it was inspired by a comment that was left on one of his videos, in which the commenter talked about her love of A.S. Byatt's Possession, which is a love that I share. I've read that book twice. I adore it. But the idea is that this is a book for her, Possession, that she can read anytime, and that it's always there for her. It's more of a friend, I suppose, in that way. It doesn't let her down. And so Steve was intrigued by that, and he was curious to know what all of our books for all seasons are. His was the Diary of Samuel Pepys, and I got to thinking about what mine might be. And initially I thought there might be many of them, but that quickly turned out not to be true when I started thinking about what it meant to me. And so I wanted to do a video about my book for all seasons and my movie for all seasons, the film that does that for me as well. So the phrase quote-unquote for all seasons puts one in mind, of course, of Robert Bolt's play A Man for All Seasons, which was about Sir Thomas More. But more importantly, the phrase and the title of Bolt's play harken back to Ecclesiastes 3, which begins, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So how do I define a book for all seasons, right? So for me, it would have to be a book that I turn to for comfort and for wisdom, a book that answers my needs, regardless of when I read it, where I read it, how often I read it. A book for all seasons throws an umbrella over Ecclesiastes. It is a book that works on me wherever, whenever, irrespective of whatever circumstances I'm going through at the time, whatever conditions I'm living in at the time. And so when I got to thinking about that, what is the book that always offers me wisdom, always comforts me? And not even just when I reread it, but also just when I think about it, right? Our books that we love live in our memories. And even if we only read, book X or book Y or book Z every 5 years, if it's a book that we really love, oftentimes it's a book that we're thinking of on an almost daily basis. So I went back through my book journal, and there's one book that is my book for all seasons, and it jumped out at me pretty quickly. I have read it 3 times, and that book is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. First time was in 2011. The most recent time was in 2015. In my Goodreads review of this, which I wrote in 2015, I called this book an antidote to the world that we live in. And if 2019 has taught us anything, it is that The Secret Garden as an antidote is needed more now, far more now in 2019 than it was in 2015. We live in a world that doesn't make any kind of sense anymore, not even any semblance of sense. On a weekly basis, I will open The Guardian on my iPad, and I'll see a headline that is so ludicrous that it defies any kind of understanding at all. You click on the article and you're trying to figure out actually what's happened, because it seems like something from The Onion, and more, that's our world, right? It's our world in America. It's the world in the UK. It's the world in Australia. It's the world in the Middle East. It's the world in various South American countries. Everything seems to have come off the rails a little bit. Well, more than a little bit, I suppose. A hell of a lot. And the thing about The Secret Garden is that it makes sense. It restores order. It reminds us to allow ourselves to be saved. It reminds us that in order to be healed, on some level, we need to first surrender. We need to make ourselves vulnerable. which is a difficult thing for any of us in the world to do these days. But it's a beautiful book. It's lyrical, it's true, it's incredibly moving. It has one of the most beautiful chapters ever written, in my opinion. And it just helps me, like no other book does, I think. So films, what is my film of all seasons? What is the one movie that I can watch again and again and again, and it always answers some need or desire or problem in me? And that movie is, it's kind of funny, because I know many of you are probably thinking it's a Terrence Malick film or it's a Bergman film or something like this. But no, it's the Jane Austen Book Club, which was written and directed by Robin Swicord. And it's based on a novel that I actually don't like very much. The novel's by Karen Joy Fowler. The movie is a vast improvement on the book, a vast improvement. And for years now, this has been the film, my go-to film, when I've been sick or depressed or discouraged or weary of the world. I watch it, I don't know, I probably watch it 3 times a year, every year, for the last 10 years. So maybe I've seen it 30 times. And I rewatched it yesterday, actually. Kelly and I rewatched it last night. So the character of Burnett in the film, played by Kathy Baker, at one point when she proposes the Jane Austen Book Club to another character in the film, Prudie, she describes it as all Jane Austen all the time. And she says, it's the perfect antidote, right? There's that word again. And Prudie says, to what? And Kathy Baker's character says, to life. The perfect antidote to life. So it's worth noting that this film begins with, during its opening titles, a montage of people enduring those little niggling, horrible things that make a good day a crap day. Most of the characters who are enduring these things at the beginning of the film are not main characters in the film. They're just there for a moment. They're the people who are trying to get the snack machine to take their money and it keeps spitting the bill back out. The people whose cell phones fall in the toilet. The people who miss the elevator. The people who drop shit. The people who slam on their brakes and spill their drink all over themselves. So the movie sets itself up as the world that we live in now is one where we have all of these little tiny things picking at us constantly. And what does reading Jane Austen do? It reorients us. It allows us to more clearly see and understand the relationships around us. And I think it takes the edge off those annoyances that just pile up in our day-to-day lives. And for that reason, it's an antidote, like the Secret Garden, to the world that we live in. So anyway, that is my book for all seasons and my movie for all seasons. I would love to hear what yours are in the comments below, or like Steve said, feel free to make a video in response to his, to mine, or whatever. I hope you guys are having a really great weekend, and I will see you again very soon. Adios.